We've talked a lot in the past about alt-righters, or really far-right people who are radicalized through the internet primarily, ending up taking up some kind of weapon, going to some public place, and doling out violence indiscriminately, or more often than not, discriminately as hell, towards everybody in the vicinity. We've seen it happen many times. Around the time I started my channel, the most recent far-right terror attack was the Christchurch shooting in New Zealand. A little while after, there was an attempted arson at a synagogue in San Francisco, or it was either San Francisco or San Diego. Then there was a mall shooting, I think in Colorado maybe, targeting the Hispanic community. El Paso. It was the El Paso shooter is who I'm thinking of. An El Paso grocery store. There have been countless scenarios like this that we have covered in the past. And more often than not, these people actually leave manifestos, like writings, where they talk about why they're doing what they did, or are going to do, and what radicalized them, essentially. And in these manifestos, many of them credit right-wing internet celebrities as having motivated them and red-pilled them into doing this. And so I've got a video here that was recommended by some fans of mine called The New Alt-Right to Mass Shooter Pipeline. And I think this is an important conversation to have now more than ever, because we're finding out about organizations like 764, which is literally a Satanist Nazi death cult that centers around grooming and exploiting children. It's really bad. I've done videos on it in the past. You should look into it yourself if you haven't. I've got videos on it, so if you want to see me talk about it, then you can go look those up. But seriously, look up 764 and bring a barf bag. It's bad. Anyway, folks, let's get into this video, because I'm really curious to see how well this video covers the alt-righter shooter terrorist epidemic that's been going on for, God, over a decade now at this point. Let's see.
All right, so a few months ago, on the morning of Monday, May 18th, 2026, around 140 children and staff were inside the Islamic Center of San Diego. Two young men, one age 17 and one age 18, arrived at the mosque, armed, before entering the building and killing 3 people. Officers were on the scene minutes later. However, the 2 attackers had already left the mosque, and they were found dead in the BMW around...
I heard about this one. I think I just used it as an example earlier.
3 minutes later, a couple miles away. One had shot the other, and then himself. This whole ordeal lasted around 20 minutes. Now, I want to talk to you about the 2 people who did this. The older attacker was 18 years old, and his name was Caleb Vasquez, and the 17-year-old...
Oh, look, he's doing the okay hand sign. That's the... Oh, God. Let's hope we touch on the okay hand sign in this video, so that we don't overwhelm ourselves right at the start. But the okay hand sign... that is a can of worms that we will have to open in this video, but not at this very second.
The attacker was named Kane Clark. Together, they wrote a 75-page document, which is pretty much their manifesto.
Ooh, Sons of Tarrant. For those that don't know, Brendan Tarrant, I think was his name, was the name of a a neo-Nazi terrorist who was a member of the Knights Templar. He was a Templar LARPer and white supremacist, I think, who was in the UK. And this was when I was like a teenager. I forget all the details of what he did, but Brendan Tarrant inspired a lot of Nazi terror attacks. And of course, they've got the Black Sun here. I forget what these symbols mean. I think this one is the like sickles, the scythes or whatever. All the different Nazi imagery is so dumb, I can't remember all of it. He was oh no, Brendan Tarrant was the Christchurch shooter. You're right. Sorry, I'm thinking of what was his name? The guy in the UK that was the Templar LARPer. I think he did a shooting or some other kind of attack when I was like 16. Anders Breivik, I think his name was. Yeah, Anders Breivik was like the inspiration of even Brendan Tarrant, I believe.
Manifesto in 2 parts, each contributing to it. It's a complete...
Oh yeah, a lot of very known imagery here.
Which is pretty much their manifesto in 2 parts.
Their debut manifesto, yeah. Debut. So here we've got, like, the skull mask dude. For those that don't know, skull mask, like, imagery is, like, a very common, like, Nazi terrorist thing. Like, they love to evoke that. Like, they all wear, like, the skull jaw, lower and upper jaw masks. They love it. Then you've got like the eyes with the swastikas, misanthropist cell, God. Accelerate Your Hate by Caleb. And then you've got the vaporwave background. Nazis love vaporwave.
Contributing to it. It's a complete neo-Nazi.
Oh, he's flashing it too fast. Come on.
Document, which is pretty much their manifesto in 2 parts, each contributing to it. It's a...
Here, okay, and then here we've got the black sun, death to the world, then the black sun surrounding the nuclear, like nuclear kind of symbol. I forget exactly what this symbol is called, if it's not called the nuclear symbol. But this is a symbol of a Nazi terrorist group, if I'm not mistaken, called Atomwaffen, whose goal is to... It's a nuclear death cult. It is a white supremacist nuclear death cult, essentially. You can Google it.
Complete neo-Nazi document. They call themselves the Sons of Tarrant in reference to Brenton Tarrant, the man who committed the Christchurch mosque shootings in 2019 in New Zealand, an attack that they pretty much mirrored in similarity as, styling of their weapons and live streaming the whole ordeal. Anyways, in their manifesto, they call themselves National Socialist Eco-Fascists. They stated that they hated Muslims, Jews, black people, Asian people, immigrants, both legal and illegal, gay and trans people, women, and notably Latinos. However...
Oh, no, hold on, I saw... A word caught my eye there.
Women, notably Latinos.
Okay, here we go. About the South Americans. By all means of the word, it is an invasion. They come in masses continuously with no stop in sight. And I don't mean just the illegal ones, the legal ones too. As of now, they are the immigrants we have to deal with the most currently in the US. And I'll admit that they are nowhere near as bad as the Africans and Middle Eastern Muslims that Europe has to deal with, and the Indians that countries like Canada and Australia have to deal with. This could be due to their slightly more similar culture, whether that be because they share our Maheccan Judeo-Christian values like the conservatives would say, or the fact that most of them have some European ancestry themselves. This does not excuse the fact that they are invading nonetheless. Hold on, is it the next one I wanted?
Caleb Vasquez was Latino himself.
Wait, well, of course he is. That's why Latinos are way better at racism than white people.
Their weapons and live streaming the whole ordeal. Anyways, in their manifesto, they called themselves National Socialist Eco-Fascists. They stated that they hated Muslims, Jews, black people, Asian people, immigrants, both legal and illegal, gay and trans people.
I saw Foids. I swear I saw Foids. It caught my eye. Here it is. Where did my hatred for women come from? Well, mainly just simply interacting with them was enough. They are all the most insufferable, backwards, evil bunch anyone could be forced to have to spend any time with, and they'll always flat out deny it and label you with their own evil. Foids always say that while us Foids. I remember back in my day, it was femoid. These young'uns can't even finish a word, much less a sentence. Goddamn Zoomers.
The Latinos. However, Caleb Vasquez was Latino himself, and it's believed that Kane Clark was part Indonesian. However, Caleb knew this. He even addressed it directly. He wrote that his religion was the white race, and he even wrote that he understood some readers would look at him and see a Latino pretending to be white, but this did not apparently bother.
Listen, guys, if you LARP it hard enough, you can be white too, no matter how Latino you are.
Now, just take a second and soak all of that in, because that's pretty much everything else in this video that hangs off of it. This is a young man of Latino background who on the last day of his life wrote a white nationalist manifesto for a movement that names his own people as invaders, who has so completely absorbed the story about racial hierarchy that he has filed himself under the one category that the ideology says he can never belong to. This is what he dedicated his life to. This is what he gave his life to. And this is the part of radicalization that I want to understand. How we get the Caleb Vasquez's Latino writing that his religion was the white race. How we get people like Solomon Henderson.
Oh my God, he's doing like this dance is like an anime thing, right? Like this is an anime like catboy, femboy dance, right? Like these are supposed to be a representation of cat ears. So this is like the Nazi. I don't know like the lore behind it. Carmel dancing? I don't know what that is, but this is like some anime shit, right? Caramel dance? Is that what that is? Okay. I don't know, man. What the fuck? What is that? What is that?
Antioch shooting in 2025, who called himself an involuntary leader. People like Nick Fuentes, a Hispanic.
Oh, yeah. That guy had connections with 764, by the way. Seriously, if you haven't Googled it yet, Google it. Or watch my video on 764.
Man who constantly preaches white supremacist ideology. And I had to dive into this whole manifesto. It's very long. It's very ridiculous. If you look at what else Vasquez wrote about himself, it's, extremely direct. He describes himself as short. He describes himself as being on the autism spectrum. And he connected both of those things to the fact that girls ignored him. So there's also a bit of incel ideology here too. As we can see, he writes at length about the humiliation of being a short man. And I want to be clear about what I'm saying. Autism does not cause this. Being short does not cause this. Millions of people are both and go around their whole lives without hurting anybody. This is not the cause here. He's just telling you parts of, why he's hurting. And that is exactly the opening that these types of communities are built to find. If you're a teenager who feels worthless, who got bullied.
It's a Swedish anime dance style. And I'm gonna guess PewDiePie popularized it, and that's why they're doing it. PewDiePie's not a Nazi himself, but for some reason, well, if you know why, if you know ball, you know why. But like, Nazis love PewDiePie, and they like to like LARP anything that PewDiePie has made popular. Not PewDiePie, it's old internet stuff. I mean, PewDiePie is old internet stuff, and he's like the most famous Swede on the internet besides Notch, so you'd think he popularized it, right? It way predates PewDiePie? Gotcha.
Who can't get a date, who feels like the world has no place for you. These communities or ideologies take that pain and hand you this whole story
how much
that you're
anime culture is co-opted by Nazis.
Yep. And that is why I generalize anime fans happily.
Engineered. There's a scheme, and it's completely vast, and you are one of the few people awake enough to see it. And notice how nothing in that transaction requires you to be white. It just requires you to be in pain and have some type of self-loathing. However, then the racial identity gets layered on afterwards, and it does its job. It offers a tribe and a side in a war between, quote, good and evil, to a young person who feels he has
LARP
tribe,
her.
belonging. This pull of belonging is strong enough, as we see, to override the obvious fact that this group holds this person's own background in contempt. However, this movement is perfectly happy enough to make exceptions for people like Solomon Henderson and Caleb Vasquez. It will tell a Latino kid or a mixed kid or a black kid that you are one of the good ones, and your loyalty basically makes you.
It's so disgusting how they use like anime and like cartoon characters to groom these kids into it, like this like cutesy weeb internet culture stuff to sort of like dress it up in a way that young edgy teenagers will be receptive to. It's literally like when like cigarettes would put out candy flavored and like fruity flavored variants to get kids to start smoking. It's like that kind of thing. It's that shameless, that blatant.
White, an honorary white. Now, there's a name for all of this and what it does to a person. We've talked about it before, but it's internalized racism. The idea that when you absorb a hierarchy that puts your own group at the bottom, one way to survive it is to identify upward.
Oh my god, do you see it?
The idea that when you absorb a hierarchy that...
Dude, the Nazi flag is one thing, alright? The Nazi flag is one thing, but the fucking Keck
White
flag,
nationalists
dude.
never date white women. Hypocrites.
The crazy thing is, I think this kid might have genuinely been a fetus when the Keck flag was originally conceived as a meme. I mean, 10 years ago, this kid would have been like 6. Iron Root, thank you for the $5. But also, I don't know. White nationalists never date white women, hypocrites. That is true. But I know some of them do.
Puts your own group at the bottom. One way to survive it is to identify upward, to stand with the people at the top against the people you came from. And these movements are so extremely good at finding young people who carry this hurt with them, this pain, because those are the people for whom the offer is worth the most. Hey, you may be black, but you understand why those niggers are so bad. Hey, you may be Hispanic, but you understand why we hate Mexicans. So, you know what? That makes you one of the good ones. This is happening very often. It goes all the way to the top of this, whole organized movement. Nick Fuentes, one of the most prominent white nationalist streamers in America, who we'll talk about probably later in this video, is, again, like I said, part Hispanic himself. Now, most coverage of an attack like this completely stops at the ideology. You read the headlines, 2 neo-Nazis shoot up a mosque, which is true, and it's certain that white supremacy was the primary framework these two used to rationalize what they did. But if you stop there, you start to walk away from what is, I would consider, hate-produced violence, and there are people at risk of becoming part of this whole phenomenon. Now, the accurate story here is that the movement itself found a short, lonely, autistic 18-year-old who could not get a date.
Oh, he's bone
and offered him an
smashing.
explanation for his own life and his failures, and he paid the price for this. The price was that he had to hate his own background, hate women, and give his life up for this. And that's the pipeline. It doesn't seem to be recruiting racists. It seems to be manufacturing
It's classic cult tactics of forcing people to completely cut themselves off from all their friends and family, all of their support networks. That way, the cult is the only support network. That way, cutting off the cult, leaving the cult, no longer relying on the cult is practically a death sentence. What are you going to go back to all the people you cut off? Hell, the cult might make you cut them off really harshly to make sure there's no chance they'll ever take you back if you ever want to make the cult not be your only support system or support network.
Out of minorities themselves or whoever is really lonely enough to.
The political version of that is making someone so brain-rotted and racist and hateful that nobody wants to talk to them who isn't also like that. So they have no normal people to influence them back in the other direction.
To be worth the effort. Now, the San Diego shooting, again, was on May 18th. And around 5 weeks later, on June 22nd, 2026, 3 more shootings happened on the same day in 3 different countries. In Chico, California, an 18-year-old named Bradley Scott Sayer walked into the Butte County Library in the afternoon and killed 2 men and injured a child, and was in custody in about 4 minutes of the first 911 calls. The same day in Tacloban City in the Philippines, 2 boys aged 14 and 15 opened fire inside San Jose National High School at around 9 in the morning. They killed 3 of their classmates and wounded around 20 more. And on the same day, in the neighborhood of Montreal, a 25-year-old man from Alberta named Seth Hatfield opened fire outside a building that houses ILO, the company that runs Pornhub, and then got in a gunfight with the police before dying. And 3 people...
Oh my god, he tried to shoot up Pornhub, dude. The no-fappers gotta be stopped. Holy fuck. Dude, give me a bulletproof vest and an AR-15. I will personally guard the Pornhub headquarters, as will any man. I joke. But, no, that's crazy. The no-fappers are insane. People generally like to write off the incel no-fap people, like the super-duper anti-porn incel types, as like kind of harmless and just cringe, but they are dangerous as much as any other far-right subsection. It is crazy, though, how in the 2020s, I would say that, like, the largest proponents of, like, anti-pornography rhetoric are Nazis and like, incels, you know? Because especially in this day and age, the modern porn industry is, like, 90% OnlyFans, which is women, for the most part, taking control of their own income and their own, like, monetization of their body if they want to, which, for the first time, you could argue actually is empowering women to an extent, at least financially it is. And incels hate it. They really hate it. Like they hate Pornhub and OnlyFans and all that because it gives creative and financial control to women.
Died. Now, these were 3 separate shootings, 3 different countries that happened in one day, and these were not coordinated. They were not coordinated at all. But what ties them all together is signature, the same influences, the same online culture, the same roster of revered names that would keep surfacing up in the wreckage, and completely different cases on other sides of the world. A mosque, a library, a high school, a pornography company. Bradley Scott Sayer literally modeled himself after, I believe, Eric Harris. I mean, he's wearing the exact same outfit that was worn by the perpetrator in Columbine. Investigations in the Philippines revealed that the 2 perpetrators were allegedly influenced by the international online terrorist organization 764, known for its nihilistic violence.
Hey, okay, we're getting into 764. Yep. This death cult literally explicitly targets children, by the way, and they aim for as young as they can go. They have, like, groomed, like, 9, 10, 11-year-olds into Nazi shit. And they have molested them, too. There's been, I believe, sexual assaults of children done by the 764 adults that are doing the grooming.
Extremism. It was revealed that this satanic neo-Nazi cult had groomed and radicalized these children internationally. And investigations revealed Seth Hatfield was linked to incel subculture after his 104-page manifesto revealed that he believed that online pornography, including Pornhub, was responsible for a large part of men's suffering. Now, going from...
Yep. See what I'm talking about, guys? The no-fappers are dangerous, too. They're not harmless.
The bottom of all this, and working back up, no one starts as a normal person one night and then ready to kill strangers the next morning. All this radicalization is a process made up of small steps where, you know, some of these steps apparently look reasonable from where you're standing on the last one. And researchers describe this as a staircase. Something normalizes an idea that used to be shocking. You get used to it. I mean, if you look at how young these people are, in San Diego, 17 and 18, and Chico, 18, just 2 weeks after this guy graduated high school. In the Philippines, 14 and 15. The Global Terrorism Index for 2026 even put a name to all this. Youth radicalization is now defining a feature of the extremist landscape with an expedited timeline. And the network...
And they always write on their guns like this, too. They always write a bunch of different Nazi slogans on their guns in white nail polish.
Doing the recruiting targets socially isolated young people, mostly male, mostly under 25, and many under 18. Now, I want to talk about some of the tools that they use here. The first one being, humor, specifically deliberate offensive humor. The mechanism here is pretty simple. Someone posts something hateful, wrapped in a joke, a meme or a cartoon. layer of plausible deniability, a racist joke, which then moves on to the exposure of violence and gore. And most importantly, all of this doesn't have to happen in person. It happens online. In San Diego, researchers traced the attacker's material out of a chat server into forums adjacent communities that venerate and praise mass killers. And reporting described the attack being relayed live through a video call on Discord and then sent into another separate group chat where at least one person watching said that police needed to be called. Now, in the Philippines on July 1st, there was actually a Senate hearing that changed how cases like these are understood, as Senator Risa Hontiveros, who chairs a committee on
Zan, the right-wing nofap and radfem people are the two sides of the same coin when it comes to anti-porn rhetoric? Yep.
Women and Children said that there were indications that the shooting had been influenced by a network called 764. It was the first time Philippine authorities named the specific group tied to online grooming into what investigators call nihilistic violent extremism. And 764, for those who don't know, is designated by the FBI as a national security threat and by Canada as a terrorist entity. So here's how it works. Members gain status by coercing victims into escalating acts of violence and self-harm, and those who succeed into pushing a victim into killing themselves are the, quote, highest ranking members, and these victims are often children. Now, Senator Risa told the hearing that these networks use roadblocks.
Yep. A big part of what they do is encouraging the kids they groom to commit suicide on video for them. Probably to jack off to, because they're fucking pedophile, groomer, weirdo, freak, Nazi motherfuckers. I hate that this is a group that is not getting more coverage and is not lambasted broadly as, like, just pure evil. Listen, I would love to watch more of this, but it's a bit depressing, and I imagine some of you guys are probably a little down about it too, but I felt that it's important. So I highly recommend you check out LJ's full video. The whole rest of it will be linked down below in the description if you can stomach more of this story. But if you did enjoy my coverage, then do consider leaving a like and a comment down below. Subscribe and ring the bell icon if you want to see more from me in the future. I really do appreciate it. And as always, I hope you have a good one. Thanks for watching.